The task before the tax collector, stakeholders and citizens hold conversations on the nation's new tax regime. 2026 is the year before the year. Political parties recalibrate ahead of the 2027 general election, and defections continue not only in one direction. Also on the program, we will look at the task before the election management body in 2026. This is Political Update on the NTA, the first edition for 2026. I'm Fisayo Ogunfi. Welcome. Nigerians have been urged to support the new tax policy of the Tinubu administration for accelerated development. Advocacy for building leaders across political party lines has also been identified as a panacea for the nation's accelerated development.
No, in the first world, they are developed because people pay tax. I just pray that the tax we pay, they will use to develop the country. And I also admonish the citizens to pay the tax so that both the government and the citizens we have the means of developing the country and making the country what it's called, the giant of Africa.
Go ye out and choose you from any party. Don't do party. Do individuals who have capacity, who have track records, who you can browse and see their names and the things that have been doing in the past, whether from your tribe or from your religion. It doesn't really matter. What matters is competence, someone who is ready to do the job.
All right, Nigerians talking about the new tax policy and as well talking about people they want in leadership positions, even from the lowest tiers of government. Now, just before the end of the year 2025, the Labour Party presidential candidate for the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, officially defected to the African Democratic Congress, ADC. This move comes ahead of the 2027 elections. Peter Obi cited the need for a unifying and all-inclusive governance as his reason for joining the coalition.
As the political tempo rises with political gladiators on the move, alignments and realignments are gradually becoming the order of the day, with special focus on the 2027 general elections in Nigeria. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, an emerging opposition political coalition, is making progress by receiving heavy political weights into her fold. The national chairman, ADC, Senator David Mark, described children and women empowerment as well as grassroots inclusiveness as one of the major truths of true democracy, stating that ADC is a veritable platform for the desired change Nigerians are yearning for.
Together, we will enthrone internal democracy, respect for party members, and people-oriented governance anchored on integrity and accountability.
I am fully in ABC. Following my brother, our leader, Mr. Peter Obi.
Mr. Peter Obi, who finished third in the 2023 presidential election, has been a prominent figure in the country's political space, with massive support among young voters and urban populations. His defection is seen as a strategic boost for the ADC, which is positioning itself as a viable opposition party.
We are going to be a family of change. A family that will create new Nigeria. All come together to ensure that we become fully member of this coalition of ADC.
Some serving and former senators and House of Representative members also joined in the defection train.
All right, before we go to our discussion, opposition political parties in Nigeria played a significant role in shaping democracy in 2025. We will recall some defining moments in the past year as we look forward to robust politics in 2026, as I will welcome my guests shortly afterwards.
Many believe that 2025 has been a challenging year for opposition parties in Nigeria, marked by high-profile defections, internal crises, and struggles to regain relevance. PDP, once the country's dominant political force, has been grappling with leadership disputes, factional struggles, and defections to the APC and some other political parties. Governors of Delta, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, among others, have defected to the APC, citing internal party challenges and the need for stronger federal alignment.
Opposition, for me, it is healthy. It is a mirror. The government in power need it, okay, to be in shape. And it must be welcome at all times.
On the other hand, opposition leaders have been rallying behind the African Democratic Congress, ADC, as a new platform to challenge President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid in 2027. The coalition includes prominent figures like Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Nasir El-Rufai, with former President of the Senate, David Mark, as the party's pro-tem national chairman.
You may call me a conspirator, you may call me anything, and that is why we are in this alliance.
And politicians, or just as ordinary citizens, all of us must consider it our sacred duty to be bridge builders.
But I'm totally committed for a better future in this country.
The opposition struggles can be attributed to fragmentation, lack of a unified front, and over-reliance on identity politics.
This democracy is governed by laws, by regulations, isn't it? So we have to look at those like the Electoral Act, which has been amended, and such other laws of the Parliament. So we need to take a good look at those, legislation, and say how does it serve the purpose of democracy.
To succeed going further into 2026, analysts say opposition must craft a clear message, build national alliances, and address logistical weaknesses.
All right, thank you, Timothy Yusuf, for that report. The year 2026 promises to be an eventful one in the political scene. It will provide a launchpad for all activities which will culminate in the much-anticipated general election next year. Joining us on the program is Dr. Adoye Omale, a political scientist who have been watching the political space for a while now. Before the big, thanks for very much, and Happy New Year to you for joining us on Political.
Happy New Year, Nigerians, and I'm happy to be here on NTA.
All right, let's look at it. Before we talk about, these alliances and realliances, just the last quarter of the last year, the Election Management Body welcomed the new helmsman. Professor Amupiton came into power, to come and lead the Election Management Body. Two major elections before the general election next year, Ekiti and Osun governorship elections. What are expectations, and what are the things in the past that perhaps did not, resound with you as far as activities of the election management body is concerned, and what you want them perhaps, where you want them to up their game as far as those off-season elections are concerned?
Yeah, the off-season elections are going to happen in this year, 2026. The Ekiti and Osun election in June and in August, respectively, is a litmus test for the election management body. This is because the credibility of the 2027 general election rests on how INEC is going to conduct these two elections. So the Nigerians will be watching keenly whether INEC has learned their lessons in previous elections. On the question you asked about what need to be put in place, or how, what do I desire, how should INEC conduct these off-cycle elections or subsequent elections in this country, I think the issues have been very reoccurring. The issue of late commencement of elections in many polling booths, the issues of distribution of election materials on time, the issues of electoral violence, the issues of vote buying. There are so many issues that the new INEC chairman will have to look into to make sure that our elections are credible. I have tried to mention some of the key issues: intimidations of voters at the polling booth, secrecy of the ballot that is not always being guaranteed because most of the time the agents are always there. People because of fear, people have to vote and maybe show the vote to some people and so on.
Because some transactions may have been happening behind the scenes.
Yes, behind the scenes. So all these are some of the challenges that the INEC is going to face. But above all, one of the most important issues that has been the bane of our electoral process are the issues of internal party democracy, the primaries of the various political party elections. From the timetable, most of the primaries are going to be held sometime later this year, and that is where the problem with our democracy begins from. The nomination of candidates at the primary elections, which most times the issue of godfatherism rears its head, the issue of imposition of candidates, fraudulent manipulation of primary elections, payment to delegates, cash payments to delegates, and so on. So all these, INEC must be on top of their game to ensure that these primaries are transparent. And of course, you see the various tussle in the various political parties, in Labour Party, in PDP, and several of these political parties, factionalization and so on. How INEC is going to navigate through these problems or guide the political parties to overcome these problems is one of the challenges that Amopiton is going to be facing.
All right, but people watching Nigerian political space, looking at what has happened in previous years, especially the years before the general election, it's almost as if governance will be a write-off. Everything is, accelerated towards the elections, general elections at the state level. Governors who want to return and all that, and everybody is just looking at election, and sometimes governance is almost at a backbencher, looking fallen, while politics takes center stage.
Yes, even in advanced climate, even in countries like the United States, a year to the election is always, the presidency or the government in power is always very busy with trying to get another mandate of 4 years. So it's natural that 1 year to a general election, government officials, the president, the ruling party, the opposition party, at all levels, they will be busy with campaigning, trying to sell what they have been able to do in the last 2 to 3 years, and why they desire another tenure to carry out their program. So it's natural, but I agree with you. That is not to say that while this is being done, the important aspect of governance should not be completely negated or neglected. There should be a balance between campaigning for re-election and providing leadership or governance, as the case may be. I agree with you.
All right, I remember when Labour was an opposition party in the United Kingdom, was saying you had 365 days before a general election to still campaign with good programs to the people as against politicking from inception. And for instance, especially at the state level, I would see 2026 as 365 days of opportunities for those incumbent governors and those in positions of power, at least at the state and even local government level, to still advertise their competence by introducing policies and programs that directly impact on the people, as against the podium dance that it seems to be a little bit precipitous at this time, when we are seeing even some already gale of movements already. We have not even entered 2026 at the time.
Yes, you see, there is no substitute to good governance. In fact, by the time you perform very well, by the time you provide good governance, you provide programs, projects that touch directly on the lives of the people, you have 90% done your campaign. The rallies and sharing of souvenirs and sloganeering is just one minute aspect of the entire campaign. I think we should try as much as possible, those in power should try as much as possible to deliver what in Nigeria we call the dividends of democracy. There's no campaign that will resonate with the people more than that. By the time people see the type of projects you are carrying out, water projects, road projects, people are seeing hospital projects, people are seeing what is happening down to the grassroots. Naturally, you have finished your campaign. And that is why state governors that have really impacted on the lives of their people, some people will tell you that you don't need any further campaign. From providing good governance to your people, you already know whether the election is going to be a walkover or the election is going to be tough for you. I agree that good governance is very important, and that leaders should focus on providing good governance to the people as the best form of campaign, so that we lay more emphasis, we de-emphasize the issue of rallies, political sloganeering,
and the sheer quantum of funds injected to an election cycle. Of course, we already know how much INEC will be committing to the election cycle, but political parties and of course the transactions you alluded to before we got into this particular discussion. But let's quickly move on a little bit and look at democracy in general in Nigeria from 1999 till now, and the status of the party. We've seen defections as well, presidential candidates in previous elections in some other parties going to new parties and all that, people moving, crisscrossing like a football transfer window. But I'm saying, in terms of looking at the structures of this party and the strength of these parties, are we maturing in terms of our politics, politically? In terms of party identity, are we maturing? Because every election cycle, it seems what we get to see are different logos and slogans. The characters remain more or less the same, but what we see is the movement between different platforms.
Yes, let me say that I am not particularly happy or enthusiastic about the gale of defections or movements. I don't think it's healthy for our democracy. We should be able to have a very vibrant opposition, strong opposition. And if you look at the last elections, the PDP as a political party, the Labour Party, Abuja, and some of these opposition parties, they have quite a sizable number. NMPP, they have quite a sizable number of people at the National Assembly, at the state level, and so on. But with this gale of defection, now everybody gravitating into the ruling party, to me, it is not healthy for our democracy. We need to have a very vibrant and strong opposition to act as a check on the ruling party. And if everybody is decamping or cross-carpeting to the ruling party, it doesn't really...
Does that also speak to perhaps the character of our politicians? Instead of staying at home and trying to settle your own base, you just jump ship?
I think what makes the cross-carpeting or the movement attractive is that everybody feels that the federal government is very powerful, the ruling party is very powerful, and people are trying to have it the easy way out during the general election, so that the might of the ruling party, the so-called fury of the ruling party,
not holding brief for them, but the ruling party at this time was an opposition at the time, which tried to also withstand the pressures and intimidation of the ruling party at the time, to be able to form its own strong base for it to advance. We seem not to be having that kind of, at least we're saying some, but not the way it galvanized and resisted, and was able to perhaps galvanize momentum towards its own ideas, ideologies, and front. Because I remember that about 4 parties came together, under the faction of Abuja, the NPP, the CPC, the ACN at the time, to form the APC. And but moving on very quickly, let's just take a word or two from the political scene, because the Interparty Advisory Council has expressed gratitude for guidance and protection throughout the year 2025. The national chairman of the council, Yusuf Maman Dantale, in a statement noted that as Nigerians reflect on the outgoing year, it is imperative that citizens recommit themselves to strengthening the nation's democracy and improving the quality of national life. It added that the nation building is a collective responsibility. Therefore, every citizen has a role to play in fostering a peaceful, just, and prosperous society. IPAC further called on Nigerians to be proactive and engage in issues that affect their lives, noting that the price of freedom, good governance, and prosperity is eternal vigilance. Moving on, the critical moment in Nigeria's democratic journey, the Integrity Youth Alliance is renewing its call for increased funding and comprehensive support for the Nigeria Police Force, warning that credible elections in 2027 depend largely on a well-resourced, motivated, and professional police institution. The group says that as the nation inches closer to the general elections, rebuilding public trust in security has become a necessity.
And development partners to provide the necessary backing that will enable the Nigeria Police Force to deliver on its constitutional mandate. The Integrity Youth Alliance stands resolute, committed, and ready to work with all stakeholders in ensuring that the Nigeria Police Force is empowered, trusted, and supported to secure the 2027 elections.
This is a moment of reflection and recommitment. We have worked long hours, often under difficult conditions, to ensure that criminals are intelligently identified, investigated, and removed from our streets without fear.
All right, that's our last point of call. But before we go, we're still here with the political sciences, Dr. Adoye Male. You've seen 2025, you're looking at 2026. A quick word on what you expect and what the voters expect. Of course, CVR is going continuous, voters registration is going, but the issue of voter party continues to, loom, or hang over, the voting exercise, the electoral exercise, because we have this voters card. At the time of elections themselves, when you see people turning out in 20%, 30% of the entire voters population, you feel a little bit deflated.
Yes, I want to use this medium to urge Nigerians. The only way you can participate, the only way you can hold your government accountable, the only way you can elect credible leadership is for you to come out and perform your civic duty by getting your permanent voters card, your PVCs, by ensuring that you participate on election day to elect the leader of your choice. Anything short of that, what you have mediocre leadership, you have leadership that will not be in your own interest, that will not lead to providing the type of development that we need in our country. So as we move towards the general elections and the off-cycle elections between now and 2027, I want to urge Nigerians, please let all of us take it as a matter, as a challenge, to ensure that we participate in the process. A situation whereby in a general election, less than 20% of the voting population elects the leadership is not good enough. We should be able to come out and block en masse to participate and elect credible leadership.
All right, on that note, we round off the political update for today. Many thanks for watching. This is the first edition for the year. We'll be, of course, in different parts of the country, especially where we have offices in elections, as well as, tracking party politics as different candidates begin to emerge for some of the key dates in the course of the year. As you have already, of course, elected the Nigerian Television Authority as that one-stop shop to give you the very best of news reviews, previews, and interviews. My name is Fisel Gunfi. Thanking you for being a part of it. And between now and when we see again, play your politics for the greater good and keep it locked on Africa's largest TV network. Bye-bye now.